Hi everyone, I'm Jonty and you're listening to F1 Online Decoded.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of F1 Online Decoded. Today we are joined with a returning fan and channel favourite, Jonty from Jontys Corner. Now we have collaborated with Jonty many times in the past, and one of us has even had the privilege to meet him at the Autosport Awards earlier this year. We sat down in this interview with no Formula 1 around to talk about his hobbies outside of Formula 1, his love and how he got into the sport, his channel Jontys Corner, and his partnership and ongoing work with the F1 Word. This was a great interview and we enjoyed having Jonty's time. We hope you guys enjoy episode 3 of F1 Online Decoded with Jontys Corner. Enjoy. So Jonty, welcome to the channel. Of course, returning on our channel, been on a few episodes before. For this interview, of course, episode 2 of the second series of F1 Online Decoded. How are you doing today? Of course, situation is no Formula 1, so how are you kind of filling your time in if no Formula 1? Are you watching some season reviews or gaming? What are you doing to fill the time?
Well, today's the first time I'm actually in a position to be trying to fill my time because I was at work, but now I'm off. There's going to be a lot of gaming involved and probably a lot of talking to Sean as well.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. We all love bit of gaming and of course working with the F1 Word. We'll get onto that in a little bit. Of course, sorry to hear about your work in this difficult situation. So of course, Formula 1, that is why you're here, that is your channel. So give us a little bit of insight. How did you get into Formula 1? Do you have a favourite driver or a favourite team? What led to obviously you following our sport and what got you into Formula 1?
Well, it's difficult to put an exact moment on it because according to my mum, whenever I was playing with Matchbox cars as a kid, I was always going on about Niki Lauda. But my earliest memory is Mansell's tyre blow-up at Australia in '86. So it's really difficult to pin it down. So I have to put that on. I have to put it as Australia '86 because that's my first conscious memory of it. But when you see that happening on the screen, these cars doing 180 miles an hour and the tyres exploding, sparks everywhere, I was like, ooh, what's this? Because I was obsessed with cars already. And just I've been constantly watching it ever since.
Yeah, sounds good. So would you say that Nigel Mansell was your first driver that you followed, or Niki Lauda? I mean, the two great drivers to follow. Who would you say was your main role model in Formula 1 at that point?
At that point, I have to be honest and say it was probably Senna. As much as I should have been rooting for Mansell, being successful and British, but the way Senna used to throw cars around and the laps he did, it was just mesmerising. Even then, when I was more focused on the racing more than the qualifying, you couldn't not be captivated when he was absolutely on it for a quali lap. The classic 1988 Monaco lap is just one of the most iconic F1 moments ever. Yeah,
definitely. Ayrton Senna, a great guy to follow. So in terms of modern day Formula 1, who are you following at the moment? Who are you supporting in on the grid in the last few years, and obviously heading into what should be the 2020 season?
Well, obviously I always have had a little bit of an affinity for Williams, going back to the Mansell, Senna, Prost era. I always quite rated Thierry Boutsen. He always got a bit of the raw end of the deal, I thought, which is a bit of a shame. But obviously the downturn of Williams, everyone seems to back them a little bit as the underdogs, but I'm probably Racing Point at the moment. I try not to get too much behind any one team and just enjoy the racing because it's much better from a neutral perspective. But Racing Point are a lot of fun.
Sounds good. Favourite driver at Racing Point?
I've always been a bit of a fan of Checo. Right from when he first came in, as someone mentioned on Twitter earlier, going back to that Spain or Malaysia, I can never remember, when he was at Sauber. Yeah, with the pit radio call that lost him the race. It's like, oh, just shut up, God. It's getting harder and harder to say, isn't it? I was actually having this debate with Hazel and a couple of other people on Twitter the other day about whether it will be, not with Hazel, sorry, it was with Jess, whether it would be more meaningful or less meaningful having less races. And I think whoever comes out on top, it's probably going to be Lewis, but he's going to have to work a lot harder for it, because with so many fewer races, it could be as few as 9 or even 8. He's got to be perfect all the time. They can't afford a Brazil and a Germany because there isn't enough time. So whoever comes out, I think it's going to be more valid than the last few years.
Yeah, exactly. And with less races, possibly, who do you think there is a contender who possibly might not have been there, but who could challenge this year? For example, like Racing Point. So you saw how strong they were in pre-season. Could they challenge? Obviously, with less races, are they in a better position?
Racing Point could well bring a lot of surprises, because you've got, assuming it starts after what would have been the summer break, straight into 2 high-speed tracks. And even though they've changed their design philosophy and they've gone more down the Mercedes route, I suppose that's the nicest way of putting it, instead of copying, but they've still always had that niche of epic in a straight line. So they could steal some surprises there. So who knows? And on the championship as a whole, you've got to look to Max. Max was on fire last year. And if Red Bull have got it right, with a lot of the Mercedes dominant tracks being taken out of it, very close. Very close.
Yeah, well, that sounds awesome. And obviously, hopefully we do get a season.
Yes, hopefully. I mean, it's still not certain now. No one knows what's going to happen.
It's always in that uncertain time of, well, that's the thing. That's what people are kind of worried about, that they don't know how long this is going to be lasting for, not just for Formula One, but just for life itself. Like, you don't know how long you're going to be inside for, how long you can't see your family for, and all that. It is worrying times, but fingers crossed we can get something back very soon. Just moving away from Formula One just a little bit. Of course, you've got a YouTube channel as such, but it's been a while since that you've uploaded there. I know you've uploaded a couple of videos on there as well. So, obviously, the creation of your YouTube channel was the intention there to do a channel, or was it just like let's just see how it goes and maybe I can come back to this at one stage?
The intention's always been there, and I did kind of start off, strongish with what I was aiming at.
Yeah.
But then real life work and everything makes it very difficult.
Yeah, it does.
And I did realise I'm not very good at the actual the way other channels like Sean, Chainbear, Dan, F1/E reviews, the way they put things together, it takes me so long. The first video I did took me 4 weeks.
Ooh. Wow.
And obviously a couple of the others I've had to take down because they might have had a couple of little bits in which could be seen as naughty by FOM. And with what happened to Chaz, so I don't want to be taking any risks when I don't even have a channel yet. But the intention is still there. Maybe now I can actually get more stuff done with it. I just don't know exactly how to go about it.
Well, I mean, you've
Any
got
ideas?
Well, you've got more free time, I suppose. So maybe you can just maybe think of something then. Who knows? Obviously the name Jontys Corner. What was the meaning behind that name? Because that, I must say, that is a really sweet name. It's like Jontys Corner. I mean, that could have been literally it. But is there a meaning behind the Jontys Corner, or is it just I'm Jonty, I'm just going to sit in the corner and talk about Formula One?
Well, in some ways it is literal. I am in the corner of the room.
Yeah.
But I think me and Sean were just joking around at what I could call it. Originally, I was trying to stay away from F1 and focus more on F2 and F3.
Yeah.
I was thinking of things like, the road to F1 or the future stars or things like that, but it ties you down into what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in one of the early live streams, he may have jokingly said, now let's go over to Jonty's desk or something like that, I thought,
Yeah.
ooh, that could work. And it doesn't limit me to any racing series or even to just motorsport. I could, in theory, do anything, which I like the idea of. And then someone who was a fan of Sean's channel very kindly offered to just design me up a logo. He's a graphic designer, Osama Hatta, great guy. Came up with this really cool looking design, which he tweaked a little bit for this year, which I thought was really nice, because I could never have come up with that. I should probably send you a picture of the original design I came up with, because while it was kind of cool, it was really, really shockingly done.
Probably in a way, it's almost like our old logo. Like, it was literally made by a couple of images on Google, put it all together, and it was just made. And then we got Bloomy Designs to create us a brand new one for 2020. And what he did compared to us was just like on another level. You know what I mean? So I can relate to that. I can relate to that in a
yeah. I mean,
in
mine.
way.
All I did, I got an overhead view of turn one of Kota, flipped it horizontally, so it looked like a J. And then I got the carousel from the Nordschleife and cropped that out so it looked like a C and stuck them together.
Oh, very creative.
Yeah, it was cool. You know, all was actually made of corners, but it looks so bad. And I'm really
Exactly. Jontys Corner, the logo's made out of corners. Oh my.
Yeah. And the carousel had Heidfeld going around it, which was nice.
Well, there you go. How creative is that? Yeah, I did see your logo was updated. So, and I was thinking, oh, is Jonty going to be making a comeback to YouTube? Is he going to be knocking on the door? I mean, you know, you have got more free time, but would you like consider possibly doing like regular content on there? And of course, like you said, it doesn't just tie you down to Formula One. You can do anything you want essentially. It doesn't have to be racing, it can be whatever. So is the idea definitely there to possibly do like more regular content?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
100%. You know, I really, really want to get going on it. I've got a few ideas.
Ooh.
I just need to come up with the best way that I can produce it without running into skill limitations.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. Jontys Corner is making a return in 2020. You've heard it here first.
Yeah, and in the intermean time of... in the intervening time, while we're waiting for something to happen in the season, I'm trying to think of some fun, silly things to get loads of people involved. You two will be on that list as well, so expect some fun and games. I'm excited now. Thanks for that. Oh, these will be a laugh. I don't know if anyone's seen them. They're inspired by the Penske games. I don't know if you ever saw them. Go on YouTube and find them. They're hilarious, where all the Penske drivers from Indy and NASCAR were pitted against each other in silly little challenges.
I'll give it a watch.
They were hilarious.
I'll be giving it a watch. I'm excited. I'm excited now.
Yeah, well, I'll have to go and check that out. Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. I was shocked. It's a great thing to say. Jontys Corner's logo was made out of corners. Did not know that, of course.
You learn everything on here.
Jonty, of course, we've said that you mentioned at the start of this interview that you have worked with Sean before. Sean he works over at the F1 Word, of course. Go and check them out. Here, great channel, of course, does live streams through the winter testing, and of course, we'll be covering the season when we get going. So, can you give us a little bit of an insight into how you first met, and how did this partnership, you know, between you and of course Sean on the F1 Word start? And of course, you have appeared on their channel before, and yeah, just give us a bit of an insight, obviously, what it's like to work on the F1 Word.
Well, it was just pure chance, really, that we got started on it. He'd done one live stream where, after a comment on his previous video, I think it was a video about track limits with Max at COTA 2016. You know, everyone remembers that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's when his channel started to take off a little bit. I think he'd got about 900 subs, maybe, something like that. And he asked if anyone had any insight or knowledge to help out. I just sent him a message on Facebook. get something going, whatever. The first stream all I did was moderate the chat, but he invited me on for the second one because the company I worked for at the time, a lot of the things I was making as a welder were for a big company called Renishaw, who produce a lot of additive manufacturing machines, which is a fancy way of saying 3D printing with metal, which a hell of a lot of the F1 teams use now, because you can produce parts that are impossible to produce in any other way, and very quickly, and to incredible levels of accuracy, but the cost is astronomical. And that was the whole thing behind our first stream. People like having two people on, and we just carried on. It just snowballed from there, really.
Yeah, definitely, that sounds good. So can you, obviously, it might be confidential, but can you let us know of any plans, obviously, between you two guys going forward in... I mean, as I say, we're all, hanging on by a thread. We have no idea what's happening with the season, of course, as we are recording this. Don't know what's going on, but have you got any plans for anything? What are you going to do in the future for this season? And of course, again, what are your views kind of working together for the future?
Well, we've got a couple of plans. Obviously, Sean's got various ideas of his own, and I've got a few ideas, but I've suggested a few things we could do together. I probably shouldn't say what they are, because we haven't finalised how they would work yet, but they could be fun. And well, you guys should know what it's like working with Sean. You were on one of the testing streams, or certainly Jordan was. I think you were at work, weren't you, Lyle?
Yeah, it was just Jordan in the testing, but we've worked with the channel last year as well. So and I'm definitely for me, I definitely want to get on there because I saw Jordan was on there. It did look like a lot of fun, of course. Great guy to work with in the past. So obviously, hopefully that you two guys on the F1 word obviously go further in this series, in this season.
Yeah, and I think the thing I'm enjoying most is the fact that between everyone, there's a bigger community growing. That I think Sean's been the one that's kind of kick-started it because he got so many people involved. It's all just growing together, and it's fantastic to see so many people coming along. I mean, look at the group chat we've got for things to do on Twitter. There's how many? 13, 14 of us in there, something like that?
Yeah. It's madness.
That's what I'm most excited about, I think.
Yeah, I think the F1 community, I've said this before, it's probably as big as it's ever been. There's so many good people who know their stuff, who are on there, whether that's on YouTube or just Twitter in general. So, good future ahead anyway. So just stepping away from Formula 1 and YouTube altogether, Jonty, just to kind of get a bit to know more about you as a person. What's your interests that don't include Formula 1? So, I know F1 and other forms of motorsport are a big interest in yours. But what do you do that when you're not watching the racing or when you're not talking about it on Twitter? What do you get up to?
There's no nice way to say it. I'm a bit of a nerd.
There's no harm in that.
No, I'm a big fan of aviation, or military side. I just like planes. I do a bit of model making. Many years ago, I was very much into Warhammer. Sure, you will have heard of. But I managed to get my partner involved because she's a fantastic artist, and now she's better at painting them than I am. It's kind of amusing. I do a lot of reading. There's a hell of a lot of books here. Movies, music. I tend to get interested in a lot of things, to be quite honest.
You just discover something new and you're like, ooh, I want to know more about this, and ooh, this sounds good, let's listen to more. So you're just like, obviously I've met you in person at Autosport, and we've worked together on the channel before. You strike me as a person, as a guy who you would look at something and you would want to take it apart to see how it worked and put it back together. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very much like culling furs without blowing stuff up.
Yeah, just instantly I was just like yeah, I know a few people like that who are like, oh, how does this work? Let's just see what happens. So obviously you mentioned their music, films. First of all, what kind of music are you into? And secondly, what's your favourite films that you've watched over the years?
But music, I tend to listen to a lot of stuff, but it's primarily rock.
Yeah.
My favourite band by quite a long way is Muse, followed by Foo Fighters, System of a Down, and older stuff like Led Zeppelin, the classics.
Yeah.
But I will listen to most things. Like my music library on iTunes is very, very mixed up. There might be some Slayer, Sepultura, and things on there, but there's also a little bit of ABBA. So you've got to mix it up, haven't you?
Exactly. You've got it. You can't make it predictable for people, so you're just like, hey, listen to this, and all of a sudden, Super Trooper comes on by ABBA, and then just everything's changed. You're like, whoa, what's this?
Yeah, and movies. Big fan of sci-fi.
Yeah.
Do like all my sci-fi things. Older Star Wars films.
Yeah.
Won't talk about the new ones. Alien. That's definitely in my top 5. My favourite film of all time, though, is War Games.
All right.
Have you even heard of it?
I haven't. I was just about to say I haven't heard of it.
It's an early AI gone mad film.
All right.
Very entertaining, though.
Ooh.
Jonty, have you seen iRobot?
I have. I thought it was very good.
What? You thought it was good? Yeah, it's my favourite movie of all time. Just wanted to check that out. If you said something negative, I wouldn't have said that.
There's lots missing if you read the book.
No, I haven't. No, I've just seen the movie, I think.
Well, you need to read the book. Because, you know, the laws.
Yeah.
The book is a lot of anecdotes on how the laws have problems and how they're dealt with.
Okay.
And the story they used for the film was just one of them. And all the others are just as good.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
But they did expand on it brilliantly. And, of course, Will Smith's just awesome.
He is a great actor, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. To be fair, I think I've only seen iRobot once, so I'm just like, yeah, I'll let you check it out. Obviously, Formula One, Jonty, is your main sport. So, what other forms of motorsport do you follow? Like I know I've seen you on Twitter as well that you talk about other forms of racing. But for those that don't follow you on Twitter, or those who just want to know more, what other forms of not just motorsport but sport in general that you follow?
Probably too many with motorsport, to be honest. You've got the obvious road to Formula One of F2, F3, F4, particularly the ADAC F4, which is incredibly close. You got Super Formula in Japan. I should follow more, to be honest. WEC, IMSA is awesome. That's very much like WEC, but a little bit freer, and they get to do a lot more with it. And IMSA show all their races for free on their website.
Oh,
back in January, I was watching Daytona 24 and Bathurst 12 hour for nothing. Fantastic.
It's always better when it's free.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Another fun one that it is more just a bit of fun, although they do seem to take it seriously. Stadium Super Trucks in Australia. If you've never heard of them, they are absolutely mental. It's I'm trying to think what you'd call them. Just pickup trucks, but the ones with incredibly high ride height and suspension travel of about 3 feet. And they race around tracks, but to make sure it's interesting, they throw a few ramps in the middle of the track.
Wow.
Literally, you've got the old F1 Adelaide circuit that they still use for DA supercars, which is another series, and they'll just throw a couple of ramps in the start-finish straight, so you've got these cars flying 20 feet in the air, side by side.
Well, Chase Carey, if you're listening, there's an idea. Start finish straight down Silverstone. Woof! Put a ramp in there. Just not like a ramp that they can see. Just maybe put it in the track and maybe like a couple of cars drive past and go, right, okay, here comes Sergio Perez. Rise it up and off you go. That will make racing a lot more interesting. No more boring races.
Oh no, not at all.
No.
Although it's a bit crazier than the sprinkler idea of Bernie.
Oh my god.
But, outside of motorsport.
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
Robot Wars count? Well, that's not really around anymore.
So Jonty, obviously you let it slide a little bit there. You have met Jordan
Hello.
at Autosport. Obviously, something that I didn't go to this year. He did meet quite a few YouTubers as well. So he had a ball, heard all about it. So so tell us, of course, in your words, what was it like going to Autosport? Of course, how did you kind of enjoy the weekend or the few days that you were there? And of course, a little bit of maybe what it was like to meet Jordan, and obviously not just him, but other YouTubers is there. Who did you get to meet? And just what was your experience like?
Can I just add? I did not write this question. This is
No,
all
me.
Lyle.
It was
Just so people are like,
completely me.
oh, look at Jordan trying to get trying to look at him feel good. No, I did not write this question.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with self-promotion.
There isn't.
No, Autosport was fantastic. It was obviously the first time I'd been, and thanks to Dan in this case, getting the media pass. And just seeing so many iconic cars was something very special. All these cars I've grown up watching from across the eras. I mean, it was incredible, obviously, to see Senna's MP4/4 and the Brawn, which is such a beautiful car.
Yeah,
I've got to be honest, it wasn't an F1 car it wasn't a set of F1 cars that got me the most excited. It was the fact that they had the three main cars of Colin McRae's career. They'd got his Subaru Legacy, Impreza, and the Focus that came after, and seeing those, that was very, very special, because McRae's a big racing hero of mine. Just his whole attitude towards everything was, look, I'm going to win, or I'm going to crash in spectacular fashion. And he never changed from that. As for meeting people, I've got to be honest, that's what I enjoyed the most. It really is. I mean, I met Sean for the first time, and there was Jordan. Who else did we see there? I mean, there was Aldas was there.
Aldas, yeah, I met Aldas.
Alex Afro.
Mm-hmm. He was nice.
Dan, of course.
Dan came on the Sunday, didn't he?
Yeah, Aaron Gillard was there. It was really good to meet Aaron.
Mm.
I don't
Hazel.
know if there
Hazel was there.
Hazel had gone before I got there.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. She had said to Sean, we'll go and have one drink on the Friday evening. And they kind of stumbled out there at about midnight. Whatever time it was.
I remember
I
was sitting in the media centre and Sean came in and he was like, I only went for one, and I was like, you alright, mate?
Yeah,
hung over, bless him.
Full disclosure, that happened on Saturday night as well. So obviously I was there with one of the moderators from F1 Word, Jack.
Oh, Jack Chambers, yeah.
Yeah, he's hilarious. And a giant.
He's huge, isn't he?
Yeah, he's massive.
Put him next to Aldas, you're like, Jesus Christ.
And yeah, I thought he was tall. And then on Sunday we met Dre Harrison from Motorsport 101, who is massive. Danny Brennan Fover from Ireland, who is even more massive, 6'7".
Wow.
It was really confusing for me, because where I grew up, I was always really short. But in the town I live in now, I don't know if there's something weird in the water, I'm taller than most people. And it was a stark reminder that I'm not that tall. We'll get to the point, meeting Jordan. Oh, we had a laugh, didn't we?
We did.
That was the most fun thing. There was most of Sunday was a group of six of us just wandering around, having a laugh. We didn't really pay that much attention to the cars. We were just laughing and joking the whole time. That was the most enjoyable thing.
It was. For me, it was my favourite moment of the whole trip. Like, I was there the Thursday. I already explored the area, so I was basically your guide to us. Really, I was like, well, this is here, and if you go up here, we've got this here. And I met up with Sean, and it was just like, can I come with you? And yeah, I just went from there, and obviously met everyone else, and we just seemed to have got on. We just had a right laugh with everything. But the moment I wish that I caught on camera, I wish I recorded this moment, was when you and Sean met up for the first time.
Yeah.
I was like, no. So it was like, oh, just like running into each other. It was like,
yeah. Well, he came out of the media centre and offered his hand. And all I said was, do you really think I'm going to settle for a handshake after 2 years? Come here. Although it wouldn't happen now, of course. But I think one of my favourite moments was in the live action arena, where we'd all gone to the media pen at the side.
Yeah.
And you got a few of them leaning on the the fans have all got big proper protective fences. All the media at the side have got a concrete block.
That's all we've
And
got to
then
rely on. Oh my god.
One of the stock bandits went out wide and slammed into it, shifting it back about 3 inches, made everyone jump. That was hilarious.
That was good. Oh my god. I think that was like the last kind of moment, wasn't it, of Autosport. It was and then we got to meet Billy afterwards, and then that's when we pretty much went our separate ways. As I just remember that massive drag strip car, like that, the really long one. It just came out and was just pointing directly towards us, so we were just like, "Oh, we're dead. We've had it. Let's just hope that his brakes are working." All
I was thinking was like, I bet loads of these people here, possibly even yourself, who've never heard an engine like that.
No, honestly,
when it gets up going, you're like, whoa. That's why I keep telling people to go to an air show if they get a chance, because hearing jets going round in real life is just, it doesn't matter what they're doing or what they look like, to be honest. The noise is just something else. It makes your stomach shake. They're that loud. And it's
unreal. So, obviously, good to know more about you as well, about you, Johnny. But so, just quickly going back onto your YouTube channel just for a moment before we go on to fan questions. So, hopefully that you will, go onto YouTube as well, because I think your content will be pretty good, because I've seen you on Twitter as well. You know what you're talking about. You love a good rant. You really, really do. So I think YouTube is perfect for that. I just can't wait to see one guy go, "Oh, and I think you're wrong with this," and just Jonty just to slate into him like this, and just finish his career basically. That's what I'm looking forward to. So what's like your kind of goals really on YouTube? Do you have like a set kind of thing you want to achieve, perhaps, or are you just gonna, this is me, this is what I think, like it or leave, or like it or leave it? I think that's kind of the attitude you might have, if I'm totally honest.
Honestly, I just want to. I think at some level, I want to make people think a bit more about things, look at things deeper, in a deeper way.
Yeah.
The way my brain works, I'm always looking for root causes and how things work, where things come from. And not many people seem to look into things with detail, or try and analyse things as much. And it's a shame, because there can be a lot of fun and interest in trying to work things out for yourself. I do genuinely find it very interesting trying to work even silly things, rumours or sayings, or even, I have a lot of fun with conspiracy theories, to be honest, to try and figure out where people have come up with them.
Yeah, like debunk them basically.
But when you get to F1, like certain conspiracy theories, the whole Hamilton's tyre at China in 2008.
Yeah.
There is a conspiracy theory around it, and you look at some of the things leading up to it, and you think, oh, maybe it makes sense, and it makes you want to go and look further. And look for more details and start sort of researching. And I always find that really interesting. I've often said that one of my favourite jobs would be an archivist.
Yeah.
Being in a massive library of old documents, and you get some, police or TV researcher come in. Can you find this out? Where do I start? That's always the fun bit. Just thinking, where do I start? And watching it snowball from there. Like, when you sit and have a YouTube session.
Yeah.
And you start watching one thing, and 3 hours later you're thinking, what the hell am I watching? How did I get here? And I'd also like to make people maybe appreciate engineering a bit more, the skill and knowledge that goes into it, particularly around.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're a welder. You weld for a living.
I've done it into a fairly high precision. Yeah, I've done it to a very high precision levels. There was a friend of mine who taught me. He basically mentored me, and what he doesn't know isn't worth knowing. But the fun I had improving myself, going and learning more after that, has been incredible. It's such a journey of finding things out, and even just about different types of steels, the way they behave, and things that can happen if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, you seem like
That's always fun.
Yeah, you seem like a person that
Ultimately,
really
your
goes
ear
into detail,
hurts.
like you just said there before. Yeah, and yeah, I think more people should be like that. I agree, and I'll be looking forward to hopefully seeing some good content as well, going into really real deep detail, and hopefully I'll be
Right.
certainly learning a few things from your content. I'm looking forward to that.
Right, so next up we have the fan questions, Jonty. So the first one comes from Dan from F1E Reviews. He says, what was the best ever individual race performance that you have ever witnessed in F1?
Wow, there's a lot of options there. There really is. You have, you got to look at certain things. Jensen in Canada 2011, obviously. I mean, that's just an iconic performance now. But if you go back a bit further, I mean, one of them, Mansell at the British Grand Prix in '87. That's a must-watch race for just raw performance, head-to-head battle. Have you ever watched that one? Prost, PK, and he takes the gamble
Is that
to change.
the one where he was he chasing down
takes
Nelson Piquet? Piquet.
7.
Did he break?
Yeah, the last
Did he
29
break the
laps, he
record
broke
like
the record
5
7
times or something like that in a row?
Because he
7
took that
times,
gamble
he did something like
to
that.
change and try and chase him down, and it's very much
that is
tortoise and
incredible.
hare stuff. But it's, even though there's only 2 cars, and most of the time you're only watching 1 car on track, it was just compelling viewing. I don't think anything from Fangio in his 4th title, considering the year before he'd broken his neck. Various other things like that. Actually, no. If I think about it, I have to check what race it was. No, it was 95. Yeah.
Okay.
No, sorry, 94. Yeah, Spanish Grand Prix 1994. Michael Schumacher, when for more than half the race he was stuck in 5th gear. That always jumps out at me when I start thinking about greatest individual performances. You got to think F1 cars of that time. The immense power and torque they've got, just keeping it going in 5th, especially around a track like Barcelona, is very difficult, and so much so that his own team didn't believe him until they took the gearbox apart and found, oh yeah, he really was stuck in 5th, and he still brought the car home on the podium at least. Absolutely incredible performance, one of those standouts. Yeah, he came out second.
Yeah, sounds great.
Absolutely ridiculous, and that was another early sign of what he would
Not
go
so
on to
much.
be.
I can think of what other people would say.
Even if it sounds a bit fanboyish.
Yeah, too much.
The next question comes in from Daniel Philpott, who's a regular commenter on Twitter and all that. See him all the time. He's a nice lad. He says, "Why are you such a fan of Jordan GP team?"
Underdogs. Always fancied the underdogs. It means so much more to an underdog team when they manage to do something well, no matter what sport it is, and even outside of sport. I've always seen myself as something of an underdog, so it's really good. I just enjoy it more when I see them getting that special moment. Just look at how the Toro Rosso team reacted after Germany last year. They were absolutely ecstatic and going crazy, and to get a second one later on was just even more so. And it shows that how much it meant, the Germany podium, when Vettel made a point of going to their pit carriage to congratulate everyone because he'd given them their first podium. Admittedly, his first podium for them was a win, which was out of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
But, he knew how much it means to them. That's why I love seeing the underdogs do well. And Jordan are the ultimate underdog team, possible exception of Minardi. And we miss Minardi.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just shows that you don't have to be supporting like Mercedes or Ferrari or the top team, the top drivers. To be honest, a lot of people are actually using like Dan, who was the first question. He's Grosjean, and no offense to obviously Grosjean, but like he's never been at a top team, but he can still be your favorite driver. It doesn't have to be Hamilton or Verstappen or Mercedes or Ferrari. So we totally get that.
Exactly.
So the next one, the next one from me is from Hazel Southwell, and she says,
Oh dear.
what's the era or season, or maybe a driver or team, for a period that made you the most fanish about Formula One? Fanish, I assume, is a new English word. For the most pure, just pure excitement and love. So, like, what was your favourite F1 fanish moment where you just loved it because it was entertaining and it made you, even more kind of love for Formula One?
I think this is an easy one. I've always been a fan of the underdogs, as I've said, and I've always liked the drivers who can bring some excitement, even if they're not racing up the front. The way they drive, their driving style can be exciting. And you have Japanese drivers who tend to bring that, no matter who it is. They always have some kind of special something in the way they drive. I don't know why. But you go to Canada. What year was it? 2007.
Yep.
Yeah, of course it is.
Good race. Really good race, that one.
The little team that could. Super Aguri. Are obviously underdogs, like I said, and you got Sato overtaking Alonso. That was an epic moment. I absolutely loved that, especially when he goes drifting it across right in front of the wall of champions as well. But it was, that had me bouncing out of my seat because I've always been a fan of Sato. There were Japanese drivers before him and a couple after, but he was the one who really just showed the fun, and especially even now that he's gone on to Indy and has won the Indy 500. The year Alonso was supposed to.
Funny enough, wasn't it? He overtook Alonso and then was like, you know what? You're not winning Indy, mate.
Yeah.
No way. No.
He's beaten him again, beaten him twice in two different sports as well.
How good's that? Proper underdog story. Last question comes in from our fan question comes in from. Is it Eitzy or Eights? How do you pronounce this one? Eitzy, I think it is. And actually, Jonty, you wanted us to ask this one. Special request. So he asks, cars go 120 kilometers per hour on a highway. There are 5 people in the car. The distance from London to Helsinki is 1,822 kilometers. Calculate the mass of the Jupiter. Really weird question.
Well, luckily, one of my other interests is astronomy.
Oh, okay.
And I study physics. The first two parts of that seem a bit like statements, so I'll just focus on the Jupiter bit, and you can do it quite easily. All you got to do is follow Newton's law of universal gravitation, throw a few bits of numbers around which you can find anywhere, or work them out if you're really, really bored, because it takes a lot of maths. But yeah, you can work out it's about 1.9 times 10 to the 27th kilograms. 2.5 times the mass of all of the other planets in the solar system combined, and the moons, and the asteroids. There you go.
Easy.
I bet he was thinking, I'll never answer that. And he has.
Well, there's another fix, John. You can ask us to search it on Google, which I have at the moment. So it's 1.898 times 10 to the 27 kilograms. Figures. Which I've got no idea what that means, but there we go. Johnny figured that out without the help of Google.
1898 with 27 zeros after it.
Yes, there we go. I mean, to do that without Google is pretty impressive, if I must say so myself. Right, anyways, so the next thing we're going to move on to is the 60-second quiz. Now, of course, this is the third time we're going to be doing this on this series.
I like this
it's gone a bit of a hit, I would say. So, of course, very simple for you, 60 seconds. I'll be giving you some questions, just, one of the other answers, obviously just quick fire. Don't think about them, just give us the answer as soon as you hear them. So I'll try and get this as close to 60 seconds, of course, as I possibly can. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, let's go. Ferrari or Red Bull?
Oh, Ferrari.
Beef or chicken?
Beef.
Lauda or Hunt?
Louder.
Fernando or Felipe?
Felipe.
Netflix or Amazon?
Netflix.
Force India or Racing Point?
Oh,
Stumped him.
Racing Point.
Red or brown sauce?
Mayonnaise.
Whoa!
Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
The Senate S or the Rascas?
Cineras.
Lando or Carlos?
Gonna upset a few people. Carlos.
And just squeeze it in. Rosberg or Hamilton?
Oh. I say Rosberg on purpose.
Oh, the comment section now. Ah, you. What have you caused?
Well, there we go. Good questions. Mayonnaise, we'll let you off on that one, I guess. But still not very happy. You answered 9 out of 10. But yes, there we go. There's a 60.
Hey, what? Hey, which one was wrong?
And of course, for winning, for obviously for your answers today, you win the very special F1 Dream Team, which obviously take it away, Jordan, to fill in your F1 Dream Team for the 2020 season.
Yeah, the dream, our F1 Dream Team. So yeah, obviously the last kind of thing that we always get our guests to do is to create their own F1 Dream Team. So basically you get the choice of 2 drivers, of course, like a normal team, of anybody that's ever started a Grand Prix in Formula 1 from 1950 to present day. You get to choose a car that they could drive. So what car would you choose? Again, from 1950 to present day. You get a team boss, any team manager that's been in Formula 1, and the team name. What would you call your team? So let's start with your 2 drivers, Jonty. Which 2 drivers would you have in your team?
Well, first one is always going to be the same choice. Jim Clark.
Good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yep. Favourite driver of all time.
Yeah.
So. Second driver. Niki Lauda.
Jim Clark and Niki Lauda. Good one. What
Great choice.
What car would they drive?
BT52.
Good one.
Brabham. The Arrow.
And who would be in charge? Who would be in charge of keeping them these 2 guys racing together?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Everyone I think of, I think, oh, maybe not. There's a downside there. Kind of. Actually, no, it's quite easy. Ross Brawn.
That's actually quite a popular choice with the F1 Dream Teams. I think about 3 or 4 people have said Ross Brawn, actually.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have a downside.
Likeable character. And finally, your team name. What would it be called?
Because I'm a gaming Final Fantasy nerd, I'd probably call it something silly like Ragnarok.
That's quite catchy.
And also, that's the end of days, so it might strike some fear into the other teams.
I tell you what, that is a very strong team. Very good team.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, very strong.
No one else
Johnny.
picked Jim Clark.
Yeah. I knew Jim Clark would go down very well, of course, Jordan's favourite driver.
I love Jim Clark.
And yeah, Ross Brawn, definitely a good choice. So there we go, that is the end of our interview. Jonty, as always, thank you very much for being on our channel today. We've really enjoyed talking to you, obviously finding out a lot about you, how your logo came about, partnership with Sean, and that you like mayonnaise over the red and brown sauce options that I gave you. So, Jonty, of
Out
course...
of the 2, it would be brown, but mayonnaise is just better.
Oh, brown sauce. I do like a bit of brown sauce, of course. I think that's more of a northern choice. I think, not too sure. I like brown over red, but I don't know. So, of course, Jonty, as I said, thank you very much. We do appreciate your time. Any final words from you in this interview?
Just like I say, all people viewing, go out and find all the other people. We all follow each other on Twitter, and we're always interacting. So all of the new people that are coming up, along with ourselves, obviously, just try and get involved with as many people as possible.
Good one.
Really good community that's growing up.
It is.
We want it to get wider.
Yep. definitely, yeah, awesome community. We do have a lot of time. Got the big YouTubers and the small YouTubers rising through the ranks. So yeah, we have time for everyone. Great content, great community. Sorry, on Twitter. And of course, we have reached out to a lot of people through those platforms. Thank you very much for listening, guys, to obviously episode 3 of our F1 Online Decoded series. Stay tuned with us for the rest of this year. We have some great interviews lined up. Of course, trying to fill the void of no Formula 1 at the moment. Keep on track with our channel, of course, through the rest of 2020. I was going to say the season, but let's just say the year for now. Got some great content, and hopefully heading into what should be a season at some point.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you very much for listening, guys, and until next time, we'll see you later.
See you later, guys.
Bye.